I observed that women aged 30 to 32 already have 8 to 10 children due to repeated pregnancies and lack of access of maternal health services. These families are currently living without shelter, on the ground, and suffering from a lack of food and water, with high exposure to communicable diseases. Additionally, there is a profound lack of awareness regarding available family planning services. The practice of monsoon marriages, where girls 13 to 15 are given for marriage as a sort of coping strategy. Quoting end. The second quote, it's at the high level now. It was during the briefing between the United Nations member states, representatives, and the EU delegation who visited Pakistan last week. In the briefing, it has been said by United Nations representatives, when it comes to local and global statistics, we have two Pakistans. The first is showing the recovery and the even improvement through the lens of macroeconomic stability, while the second speaks to the social indicators where it is stagnated or even declining. And here, I can see this summit is extremely timely and important to address, amid the changes globally on reduction of ODA. So we should expect that funding is going to go less and less. And second, a shift of global initiatives where it might risk the social agenda in Pakistan. Because the discussion at the last global summit, social summit, was about low fertility, aging, second dividend, but not family planning, not rapid growth of population, not fertility rates. So the big question that we have beforehand in this session is, do we know what should be done? Or do we know how it should be done? Or do we know why it should be done? In my opinion, this is the core question. And let's agree that population agenda is in the first place a political agenda. It could not be left to health departments nor population departments. It's a political agenda. And if it is not driven by political leadership, we should not expect much to happen. Now, assuming that we know what should be done, and assuming that we agree why it should be done, this session will try on the how part, how it could be done. And we will try to learn from the regional expertise. Let us look at the landscape today. What do we have before us? In the last few years, Pakistan macroeconomic indicators has improved. It is back now to moderate GDP growth, reduced inflations. However, this economic stabilization did not reflect itself on the social agenda and the social development, where Pakistan is still at the lowest position when it comes to gender inequality index, Fertility is still very high. Population growth is high. Maternal health services are still weak. And there is a fragmentation in the support. So, what we can do and how other countries have addressed this matter. From my observation, after 3 years being in Pakistan, I could notice that the challenge in Pakistan, in the first place, is a governance issue. It is a governance issue that speaks to lack of accountability, fragmentation, lack of political support, lack of coherence. If somebody can tell me what is Pakistan vision concerning population, if I ask this question to Professor Ahsan Iqbal, I will get an answer. But if I go to the Chief Minister of Punjab, for example, I might get different answer. If I go to KP, I might have a third answer. So there is still, we don't have a vision what Pakistan is trying to achieve on this agenda, apart from blaming people for being victims. We have too many people. It's a matter of fact. But the number of people is not the whole problem. The main challenge is in the human capital, education system, the outcome of education, the outcome of health system. All these are real challenges that Pakistan is facing. If we look at Bangladesh, we could see that civil society have a massive role in the outreach. The outreach here is very fragmented. If you look at Iran, they have very coherent, strong primary health care. Primary health care here is, again, when it comes to family planning, it's scattered. If you look at Turkey, they have the hospital-based, but they are very much accessible. Accessibility here is an important challenge, and quality of services in the health facilities is another challenge. If you look at Egypt, Egypt is doing a massive outreach campaign when it comes to media. Here, it's very modest speaking about things. So I think there are lessons to be learned from the region, and I am very happy to have a very distinguished panelists who are going to be with us in this conversation. Let me start with the keynote speech by Dr. Rashid Amjad, who's going to go to drive us through the regional perspective and how Pakistan could learn from these experiences. Dr. Rashid, over to you.
Mr. Chairperson, the distinguished representative of the United Nations Population Council, Dr. Shabaneh, His Excellency, the Indonesian Ambassador, who is represented, and my dear friend, Dr. Mehtab. The issue I will raise today is why Pakistan has not reaped the demographic dividend, and what we can learn from other countries on how to reap this dividend. And then I will have some specific suggestions from my end on how we can move towards this goal. However, before I do this, there is one general issue I want to raise, because this is a session full of numbers and numbers and numbers. And I want to raise this point that generally, as a country, we have forgotten how to count. Some or the other, when we were young, we said you count the numbers and you come up with the result. No, that's not how we count numbers anymore. We count numbers, and then we are told you must be able to get to this particular number. Now, this is a new way of adding things. So what has happened is, you have a population census, which I can tell you today, the facts will be changed one day. We don't know the exact numbers. So unless we get our numbers right and we allow our population census, we allow our other body to do their homework in the way they do it by adding numbers, we will not make any progress. Now let me come to the issue of the demographic dividend. The demographic dividend, as we all know, is a window of opportunity which comes up when your working age population grows at a faster growth rate than your dependent population. Now, in the 1990s, the demographers told us we are about to enter this window of opportunity. We waited. Then we were told, no, you have to wait longer. So we waited. And now we are told that you have to wait even longer. Why? Because the fertility rate, which is essential for the demographic dividend to deliver, has not come down. In fact, it reversed the process after the 1990s. It is going up. So my basic premise is, no, we did not receive the demographic dividend. We are in the phase of what I call the demographic disaster. What is the demographic disaster? The demographic disaster is a situation where you get the youth bulge, so you get new entrants into the workforce, and there is an echo of this youth bulge in terms of increasing fertility, and the fertility rate does not decline. So you get what we call double jeopardy. You get the worst of all worlds. And we today are passing through this phase, which is giving us the worst of all worlds as far as our demographic change is concerned. We have heard lots of numbers, and we seem to be going down and down every time we look at numbers. We are here and then we are there. Ladies and gentlemen, we were one of the 10 fastest growing economies in the world. From 1960 to 1990, there were many shortcomings, but in terms of economic growth, we were among the 10 fastest growing economies in the world with a growth rate of 6.5 to 7. And then we waited for the demographic dividend to take us forward. The demographic dividend will raise the savings rate. The demographic dividend will raise the investment rate. It will give us the momentum in which we can grow. And today, in the last 35 years, our growth rate has halved. And instead of being amongst the leading countries in the world, we are amongst the lagging countries in the world today. If you look at all the graphs we showed, India taking over, Bangladesh taking over, Pakistan going down, just change one statistics. If we had grown at the rate of growth, India less than 1 and Bangladesh 1, we would have been right on top there. So my message to you is, take care of your population growth, and the economy will take care of itself. Take care of population growth, and the GDP growth will take care of itself. I can start with 2 examples. A country which I, in my first UN assignment, went to was Thailand, and I was in Bangkok. They were all right. They were behind us in many ways. And then I saw this dynamic population person come in, Mr. Mijan, who's written this book, and he was throwing contraceptives into my car. leave aside my household. And he was giving me balloons made out of contraceptive, which my wife was very embarrassed. But what I'm saying is this is how they aggressively pursued their population program. They were able to get results. And the same economy, when they started doing economic reforms, had the tailwind of population declining numbers to take them forward. So here is a good example of a country which today has a $20,000 per capita income, where ours is far less. Now, India is a bit of a taboo, but let me also mention this. I went to India. I was posted there from 85 to 90. I tell you, I had never seen an economy function so inefficiently and so badly. They were trying to make everything and nothing worked. And then they started their reforms program, but again with the tailwind of population growth falling. Today, their population growth is less than 1%. In fact, a number of studies are showing that in most of these fast-growing Eastern and Far East and Southeastern economies which have reaped the demographic dividend, the real factor was the growth rate of fertility, the rate of fertility declining, and the growth of population decline. So, we have the IMF here, the World Bank here, everybody here. Reform kare, economic reforms kare, ye kare, economic reform, ye kare, economic. I agree with all of that. But let me just repeat to you. Can you have an export-led growth, which everybody is talking about? When your population is growing at 2.7, 2.6%, यहाँ पैसे नहीं है बच्चों को खिलाने के खाने, तो आप एक एक्सपोर्ट-लेड ग्रोथ पे जा रहे हैं. और जब उनके पढ़े, ये दें हमें, बिजली भी सस्ती दें, ये भी सस्ता दें, रॉ मटेरियल भी सस्ता. What has happened? We have had this 13th five-year plan, and we've had Uran Pakistan. I can tell you, I wrote this. I remember Junaid Saab set up a Manpower, a Human Rights, a Human Development Commission, and I was a member, and Abakai Saab was there, and I wrote the main report. And I wrote there, 30 years earlier, all the recommendations in this report will come to nothing if we do not control the growth rate of our population. And this is exactly what I would say about Uran Pakistan, about these reforms which we are hoping. I think the finance minister has realized the importance of population growth, but he's also realized that we can't grow beyond 3.5%. So we are not going to, Professor Asen is still optimistic that in the recent future we'll go, and you will not. Unless you can get rid of this binding constraint, nothing will happen. And you have to take this into account. Now, the fact is, if you look at examples, and Bangladesh was spoken about, and there were a lot of things about Bangladesh, there were three things which struck me about Bangladesh. Although Bangladesh itself says that it has not yet fully taken advantage of the demographic dividend, but they have got some tailwinds. First of all, this country is known as the Bangladesh surprise, has better human development indicators. This so-called basket case, which we thought we were giving up, is now far ahead of us. And we have much to learn from them. The female labor force participation rate went down. Second, they used their NGOs to reduce the rate of growth. As the chairperson said, at the footsteps, they gave the contraceptives and others. And third, and I'm so glad to hear it, the leadership gave the signal to go forward, and the leadership and the religious groups did not oppose it. This was an important element which led them to where they are. If you look at other countries, then let me say Iran has been mentioned, but I was impressed also with Egypt. The interesting part of both Iran and Egypt is the flexibility they are trying to build into their population growth strategy. The fact is that when the Khomeini government took over, they were against the family planning process. What they did after the war with Iran in 85, they reversed the decision. They knew their resources. They realized that their infrastructure had been destroyed, and Iran was able to put in a family planning process, especially at the local level, which reduced the growth rate of population. In fact, they're going the reverse direction now because the replacement ratio has gone down. So they are now encouraging people to raise the growth rate of population. Egypt is very similar to us. In fact, its politics sort of resembles ours. And even today, some lessons can be learned from this. But let me tell you what President Sisi has said and done. Sisi is very clear. Two-child family. The president of the Muslim Republic, or the Arab Republic of Egypt, has said two-child family. And they have laid out a population plan, which I think is very relevant to us. Let me just go over them. 5-point plan which they have put. I'm not giving the statistics for you, but increase the contraceptive prevalence rate, reduce school dropouts, increase female labor participation rate, delay early marriages, enhance social protection, and something not in my lifetime, and I will see, improve governance. I mean, that at least will take us, we should just not use this word. I mean, I see IMFs and everybody coming and telling us, I've heard this for the last 60 years. But let me give you what I believe are 6 priorities or 5 priorities highly relevant for Pakistan today too. First, educating our youth on the benefits of raising happy, healthy, and smaller-sized families. And I have a concrete suggestion here. One subject which is taught at all levels is Pakistan studies. Starts at the primary and is in fact now also taught at the university level. We should have a chapter on this. Smaller sized, happy and healthier families. Let us incorporate from our children, starting in the primary all the way to higher. To ensure its nationwide implementation, and we have a distinguished member of the Speaker of the Assembly, should include as a federal subject under the responsibility of the federal government, not just the quality of higher education as in the 18th Amendment, but at all levels. Second, encouraging literacy and raising female education enrollment strategy. As Mehboob Haq once said, an educated woman is thrice blessed. She has fewer children, she educates her children and enters the labor force. Now here I would suggest, at the local district and tehsil level, setting up a department reporting to the Deputy and Assistant Commissioner, basically looking at female enrollment and taking measures. Some of them were mentioned by Mr. Ali Chima in his excellent address, that transportation costs, that is where we should be giving the subsidy, ensuring that girls go to school. That is absolute prerequisite and insist. The third is, which we should try to bring out from Bangladesh and others, is involving NGOs. I know we have some excellent NGOs in Punjab, we have Ahuat, we have others, but I don't think they do anything on family planning. And I would like them to also involve themselves in sending out this message and distributing it. The other is I would like to bring in, I didn't see them here, I wish they had been, the Pakistan Business Council, the Chambers of Commerce and Industry. हर रोज़ अखबार में यो जी लूटे गए, ये हो गया, बिजली की कीमत कम करें, हमारा कुछ नहीं होगा। जो असल चीज़ है उस पर भी कोई बात करें ना, पॉपुलेशन ग्रोथ पे, उस पर भी कोई, वी शुड इन्वॉल्व देम in implementing our population problem. Now, this may be controversial. Fourth, set up at the highest level a body similar to the SIFC, Special Investment Facilitation Council, called the Special Demographic Dividend Facilitation Council, the SDFC, or an equivalent body in which both the military, the establishment, and the politicians have a say. And lastly, as Turkey has done, I think it is in Article 41 of the Turkish Constitution. I say this, if you want to make a strong message, let us put in a constitutional clause on this. I think I was very happy to see Mushahid and Sattar Saab and others talk about having a huge, big consensus of political parties. And possibly under Article 8 of the Constitution, promotion of social well-being and the people, broadly stating to encourage and promote family happiness, health, and balanced life while fully respecting the right of the family to make its own independent choices. I thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much, Dr. Rashid, for these insights. Let us now move to see a live experience for one country, Indonesia. Mr. Rahmat, can you please share us the insights? Where do you feel that Indonesia has made a progress? What challenges that it had, and what we can learn from that? Thank you. It's up to you. You have 5 minutes, 6 minutes.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Mumathil Sundukil Umam Al-Muttahidah Lusukkan di Pakistan, Al-Muhtaram Dr. Luay Shabaneh, distinguished speakers, Dr. Rashid Amjad, Director, Graduate Institute of Development Studies, Lahore School of Economics, Professor Mehtab Karim, President Population Association of Pakistan. Respected participants, ladies and gentlemen, it is indeed a privilege to join the auspicious occasion of the Dawn Media Population Conference on behalf of His Excellency Mr. Chandra Warsananto Sukocho, Ambassador of the Republic of Indonesia to the Islamic Republic of Pakistan. I was chargé d'affaires for 1.5 years, but when the ambassador already arrived here in Pakistan, automatically I'm not chargé d'affaires anymore, not acting ambassador anymore. I'm now the coordinator of information, social and cultural affairs of the Indonesian Embassy. His Excellency conveys a high appreciation to UNFPA, Dawn, and all relevant parties for organizing this important conference. We at the Embassy of Indonesia in Islamabad are honored to share our country's best experience in addressing critical issues at home to our colleagues in Pakistan for the benefits of the peoples of the two countries, including our experience in conducting family planning. Indeed, Indonesia is not a role model in managing various national issues at home. However, the developing countries aiming to build strong family planning programs often look to Indonesia as an example. Ladies and gentlemen, since 1960s, Indonesia has consistently ranked among top 6 of the most populous countries in the world. We replaced Japan, we replaced Russia, and since 1974, Indonesia has never dropped from its status as the fourth most populous country in the world, up to date. Some analysts have projected Indonesia will only drop one spot by 2039, not by Pakistan, the other country in Africa. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, however, for years, the international community has considered Indonesia as one of countries having strong and successful national family planning initiative in the world. The Indonesian National Family Planning Program succeeded in achieving a rapid decline in total fertility and a rapid increase in contraceptive use. From 1967 to 1987, the average number of children born to a woman decreased from 5.6 to 3.3, and then ever further to 2.7 in 1997. The total fertility rate dropped from 3.3 per woman by 1999, from 3.3 to 2.6 per woman by 1999. Indonesia saw a corresponding increase in the contraceptive prevalence rate from 9% in 1973 to 48% by the mid of 1980s, and before the crisis, 1997, to 57%. After crisis, the people experienced that having, family planning, good birth rates was beneficial for them. So after crisis, the people learned a lot that having good economy, good family, good children during crisis make them survive. The crisis give us, very incredible experience. For its successful family planning initiatives, Indonesia received its first UN Population Award by 1989, and it was accepted by the second Indonesian President, Suharto. President Suharto was the first ASEAN head of state to receive this award. At the beginning of independence, the narrative of many children, many sustenance, many blessings dominated the minds of the Indonesian people. Health matters and the mental problems of women are calculated later. But President Suharto and his administration dared to appear different from the previous administration by supporting the narrative of 2 children are enough, whatever boy or girl. Like me, I am government official. It is suggested for us as government officials to have only 2 kids, but I have 3 kids. The government support us only for the first and the second kids. The third, no. My children here, they receive the financial support for education, for health, for the second and for first and second children. For the third, free. But having third kid was a result of discussion between me and my wife, not only my willingness. No, this is both willingness. Ladies and gentlemen, after more than 3 decades, Indonesia again received its second UN Population Award. The National Population and Family Planning Board of Indonesia, or well known in Indonesia by BKKBN, won the United Nations Population Award 2022 in the institution category. So in Indonesia, if we discuss about family planning, the people directly, remembers the most reliable body or government institution is BKKBN, or National Population and Family Planning Boards of Indonesia. Hopefully in Pakistan, if somebody are asked but the family planning directly refer to certain body, hopefully, like in Indonesia. Formed in 1970, BKKBN was instrumental in spearheading the nation's family planning agenda, as well as laying the groundwork for an expanded and sustained private sector role in delivering family services. Through the state institutions initiative, women in Indonesia have become far more able to choose how many children they have. And as a strong supporter of reproductive rights in Indonesia, in 2019, BKKBN was instrumental in raising the minimum age for marriage for girls in Indonesia from 16 to 19. Ladies and gentlemen, from Indonesia's best experiences, I would say that the success of family planning in Indonesia has been conducted through 1. Total government commitment, adequate financing and strong political commitment from national and local leaders, not only national but local leaders, and the top level of the leadership, it was President Suharto. After Sukarno and then Suharto. So the chairman of BKKBN has direct communication with President directly. And Indonesia's political system is like the US. President and the vice presidents are one package, in one package. And the president is head of state and head of government, so he is very strong. With increasing numbers of family planning users, BKKBN realized that the government could not provide free family planning services for all. So previously it was for all, free for all, and then when the registers were a lot, so the BKKBN decided not to continue government-led program of family planning, but release this program to community-based program. That's why the family planning in Indonesia has been sustainable up to date. Ladies and gentlemen, and the second approach is flexible and innovative approaches. Program emphasis on decentralized decision-making authority and the involvement of community leaders and members, including Islamic religious leaders and adaptation of the family planning program to be leaders concerned. So religious leaders play a very important role, not only Muslim leaders, but other religious leaders. We advance the maqasid al-sharia, or the highest objective of Islamic law. Okay. First, preservation of religion, hifdhuddin, preservation of life, hifdhu an-nasl, hifdhu al-hayat, preservation of intellect, preservation of lineage, and preservation of poverty. We got these ideas from Imam Al-Ghazali, and this applied on all law products in Indonesia. So any verses, any hadith, any Al-Quran verses should be in line with this maqasid al-sharia. Third, enthusiastic community involvement. We have to make our family planning, yes, beneficial to the people, but also this program make the people happy, not under pressure. We organize dialogues, we organize events, we organize screening movie together to promote the importance of family planning in Indonesia. When I was child, usually the government sent the package of movie entertainment to the villages, and it was very nice entertainment. We see, oh, the big family, the small family, this is called it quality family, this is not quality family. So the awareness raised through not only speeches, but also entertainment, discussion, and also involvement, not only ladies, but also the males, boys and girls. The involvement not only by girls, but also by boys. So family planning is about to involve all kinds of genders in making it successful. Ladies and gentlemen, I think we will have a session, right? Later. Yeah, I will be very happy to respond any questions, any comments, any input from you for the benefit of our peoples, inshallah. Today, this year, Indonesia and Pakistan celebrate 75th anniversary of diplomatic relations. That's why we have to strengthen our relations by culture, by values, by traditions, inshallah. Indonesia and Pakistan, dosti zindabat. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you very much for this contribution. It speaks to the challenges that Pakistan is facing, whether we are speaking about financing, continuity, coherence, if we speak about the outreach, if we speak about the model itself, and the role, of course, of the ecosystem for population agenda. Now, before we go into our discussion, I would like to ask Dr. Mehtab, hearing the Dr. Rashid and Rahmat, what do you think the most important takeaways that Pakistan needs to focus on in order to make a transformational change? Please.
Assalamu alaikum. Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks a lot to Dawn and Population Council for inviting me. We heard quite a bit about Indonesia. I had the opportunity to spend about 3 weeks in Indonesia and on behalf of UNFPA, and I spent quite a bit of time with BKKBN. Dr. Haryano Sohano used to be the head of BKKBN, a demographer from University of Chicago. He made all the changes there. I don't have to say much about Indonesia now because he already mentioned a lot. I came back and I was doing a book on different Muslim countries, how they are doing and achieving better prospects for their population. And Indonesia was one of them, 6 largest Muslim countries. And I read a report and sent it to then, I think he was finance minister or prime minister. And he said, and I said that you should have something like BKKBN here, managed by the professionals, run by them, and so that they can make changes. I think he tried to do something, but the Ministry of Population Welfare had nothing to do with it. And I think, with due apologies from the bureaucrats sitting here, they have been maybe there's some of them who did very well, but they are the ones who are to be blamed. Besides our due apologies from our former chairman of the parliament, successive governments after General Ayub Khan's removal, none of them have been serious enough about population program in Pakistan, with the exception of Mohtarma Benazir Bhutto, who initiated Lady Health Workers Program in the 90s after she attended the conference in Cairo. She came back and she thought we have to do something. Something was done, but only momentarily because of the change in the government. Civilian or the military, nothing happened, and since then nothing has happened. Whatever is happening, what we call, demographers call it a secular effect. You know, it's changing. Everything has to change. Our things are changing in Pakistan. People are growing older, and so the population is also growing. With that, I would like to jump from Indonesia to Bangladesh. The reason I talk about Bangladesh, because Bangladesh was part of Pakistan till about 50 years or so ago. And they have shown a miracle can happen in the population field. as you could see that contraceptive prevalence rate was about the same, about 5 to 8% of women, married women were using contraceptives in 1970s, and that jumped to 62% by 2010, and that has remained at the same level. And you can see that because of that, they have achieved a total fertility rate or average number of children women can bear or do bear is about 2. And Pakistan is still struggling with 3.5. So that is a miracle which Bangladesh has been able to achieve, Pakistan didn't. When I started teaching the subject of population dynamics to medical students, Aga Khan University was the first university to do that. In 1984, Pakistan's population was 85 million. And the students used to ask me, sir, isn't it too many? I said, well, I hope by the time when you grow up, it won't be that much, or it won't be growing that fast, but it is still the same level. It has not stopped growing that fast. Many of those students are in their 50s, and perhaps they are teaching the same thing to their students, that we are at a very, very high level of growth. The next slide, please. Okay, so I'll just, as comparing to Bangladesh, the miracle which they have done, it's not only, but they have done due to, reducing their population growth rate from 2.6% in 1991. I'm not going too far away. That was the first time UNDP released its report, Human Development Report, and now it's 2.6%, so they have come down to 1%. We have still the same growth rate of 2.5%. What it was in 1991, it has remained at the same level. We have made some improvements, but very little as compared to Bangladesh. For example, we have our economist sitting here. We have only achieved perhaps 50% or 47% increase in our per capita income. Tremendous increase. But look at Bangladesh, which has gone up from $512 of per capita income. It's not PPP, not purchasing power, it's the real, and to $2,700 now. That miracle, I think, had happened due to the population growth rate, which has been arrested in Bangladesh, and we are still, we like to arrest people, but we don't like to arrest, the population. Look at other indicators related to human development. Infant mortality rate, my goodness. But our rate has declined 47% from 106 to 56. Bangladesh had a higher infant mortality rate, that is children who would not reach their first birthday, which is 116 or about 10%, 11%. Now just 2% or 22 per thousand. Some of us are sitting here, elderly people, several of us. Our life expectancy at birth has increased, but only 3 years during the last 30-some years. And Bangladesh has increased 15 years, from 57 to 72. And somebody has already talked about our ranking in the human development. It has gone not up, it has gone down from 120 to 168, and Bangladesh has gone up from 145 to 135. That means they are doing better. What is next slide, please. I'll just say 2, 3, 4 slides, and then because demographers have a weakness, we cannot talk without numbers, okay? And so basically this slide, the reason I was showing that, because in 1970, Pakistan had an edge over Bangladesh. We had fewer people. Demographers, when they say they are age means that they were ahead of us. 6 million more people there when they got independence, and by 1980s we are more than them, little more than them. Now we are about 2025, according to the most recent UN figures, we are 65 million more than Bangladesh. And lo and behold, if our fertility rate comes down, if it comes down, then we will be 338 million. That's the latest figure we have worked out, but I don't think it will come down. So it may reach 350, 360, 380 million. And so it would be, we'll have almost 150 million more people than Bangladesh. So, you know, it's amazing that the way the things have changed in the region, okay? Now, next slide, please. Quickly, all the countries in the region have shown that things can change. I could never imagine that Pakistan would be left behind by Bhutan and Nepal. And poor countries, you know, nobody would give a damn to them. Bangladesh was considered a basket case in 1970s, okay? Just look at them. I'm just finishing, so 2 more minutes. That where Sri Lanka was in 1980, we are there today, about 3.5 children per woman. And where Bangladesh was in 2000, we are there. So we are 25 years behind Bangladesh in achieving what we call a demographic transition or fertility transition. How they have done it? Quickly, by increasing the contraceptive prevalence rate. Everybody asks me, what is the rate one should achieve? Those countries which have achieved 50% of married women using contraceptives, they can achieve a total fertility rate or average number of children born, about 2, which means they have replaced themselves, the woman and the husband. So that's an ideal situation, okay? Now we heard about, next slide please. We heard about Indonesia. Pakistan is going to become the largest Muslim countries by 2050. You know, if we keep on growing that way, we'll exceed that of Indonesia, by the way. And finally, the final slide is about how our Muslim brethren or countries are doing in the Middle East and North Africa. All the countries have achieved 2 or below total fertility rate of, you know, when I looked at Saudi Arabia, I was amazed that the average number of children born to women is 2.3 or about close to 2, at least more than 1 child less than Pakistan. They don't have any family planning program. They have educated their women, by the way. They don't have official family planning program. So what it is that, is there any way out? Is there any way to learn? Yes, there is a way to learn. We can, what I say that culturally we are not very different than Bangladesh or many other South Asian countries. And so we have not followed the culture, the local culture. We have talked about Muslim countries. Oh, Islam is to blame. Well, you can blame anyone, you can blame anything. So, but it is not to do with our religion, because my research has shown, and several other people have shown, that Islam has nothing, it doesn't forbid, and we would hear about it, anything to do with contraception or use of contraception. So my take is that unless until we do many things, and I don't want to talk too much, it's all there in the paper which appeared in Dawn today, but I have few submissions, and those are that something has to be done with the insufficient resource allocation to the social sector. Everybody knows that. We have poor community engagement. We heard from Indonesia. Absence of outreach activities, which is very prevalent in Bangladesh, and as well as next door, Iran. Low male involvement in the program. Somebody was telling me, I said, just take it away from the government. Give it to the public-private partnership. Sindh has a very good example of public-private partnership in health, and they are doing a very good job. They could do the same thing in the family planning program. Because bureaucrats, very good, very efficient, but they come there for only a few months, few years, and then they move out. They have nothing at stake to see that the program works unless until it's given to the professionals to do the job, okay? And so removing bureaucratic obstacles is very important. Political support, I have not seen, with due apologies again, with the former chairman of the Senate, and there must be some parliamentarians sitting here. If they are not, it's very unfortunate, that I have never read that a bill has been presented in the parliament, in either of the houses of the parliament, talking about how to move ahead with a new population policy. Iran did it. They passed the bill, the family law bill, in 1980s in the Majlis. So unless until we keep on, there have been a lot of talk here, there have been a lot of talks, that unless until we remove the hurdles, we are not going to move ahead. We are going to be there perhaps another 10 years or another 20 years, that things have not worked. And so I don't know what to say about it. I hope that I'm not there to see that Pakistan has 400 million people by 2050 or by 2047 maybe, when we celebrate our 100 years. But our younger generation sitting here, they have to do something about it. We need a revolution in the population field. Thank you very much, sir.
All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Mehtab. Let me go back to our panelists and provoke them with some questions. Now, you have seen from the experience of Indonesia and the map of countries that has been presented, that investment in education of females is a changer, game changer. Family planning is not the solution only. It's one of the issues. But population agenda is much beyond family planning. So we should not focus only on family planning. Third, the issue is about to have a genuine political commitment and coherence and continuity. Now, if looking at the situation in Pakistan, you know it very well, and the question is for both of you, gentlemen. If the Prime Minister is here and you want to give him one advice that could change the situation, what you would give him? Dr. Rashid.
I think this has been said by many, and I only repeat.
Yeah, it's on.
It's on? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Your secret weapon is not the nuclear bomb. Your secret weapon is the women of Pakistan. This is something which I have repeated many times. Educate your women. That is what I would tell the Prime Minister. And show your commitment to population by attending such sessions. If the head of the government does not come and attend this session, you are sending the wrong message. I know there might be other reasons. You see, when I came into this field and there was this idea, Mehtab came in also at that stage, and I remember an academic, I won't mention his name, God bless his soul. You know what he said when we said we should increase our studies on population? He told Ghulam Isa Khan, "Sir, they are not teaching demography. They are teaching pornography." Can you believe it? The problem is we have to get this thing out of our minds, that what we are teaching is something which is taught in every school, in every college, everywhere in the world, how to do sensible family planning so you have happy and healthier families.
Okay. Thank you very much. Dr. Mehtab.
Thank you very much, Dr. Shabaneh. I think, well, I will 100% agree with him, not only because women are our real resources. We have concentrated the program on them, but we are not reaching out to them. That's one issue. Educating them, Saudi Arabia can do it very quickly. They have money. We are allocating, what, 1% or 2% of our budget to education. We don't have enough resources to educate them. First, there is no desire and there is no will. And we always say that if there is a will, there is a way. So first, there has to be a will. When you ask me if Prime Minister would have been here, I would tell him that instead of going to all those countries where he goes and he does, it makes sense. Well, they can learn a lot from China, but they have a system which we don't. Go to Indonesia, go to Bangladesh, go to Iran, and go to Egypt, and don't talk about anything else, but how they have been able to control their population growth rate. Learn from them how they have utilized professionals in all the 4 countries, and it's there in the paper I have written, that they are the ones who are made the things possible in all these countries. You know, you can do many other things, but that's the top priority, as Bangladesh decided in 1975, as it was done in Indonesia by General Suharto, as it was done by Hosni Mubarak in Egypt, and it was done by Ayatollah Khomeini in Iran. All of them, the top leaderships of the country, they made it a point that their messages reach out to the people, which our leadership is unable to do that. They have not done it, and as I said, that the only person I recall was Muhtarma Benazir Bhutto Shaheed, who did it after attending the conference in Cairo. So someone at that level has to do it. There was a summit done by about 5 years ago, but we don't have any result of that. It was done at a very high level by the Supreme Court Chief Justice, but we don't have any result of that. As a matter of fact, we don't have anything, still we are at the same level. So not only talks, but action is required. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. So, invest in women capacities and education. Speak. Political leadership has to speak. Habib Bourguiba used to speak in every single public speech about population. This is how they transformed the population agenda. They gave me, I have 1 minute. So, if I to add to this, I would like to tell the Prime Minister, I hope that you can reduce the intensity of moving the high bureaucracy. Secretaries are moving and running from one place to another. This will not give the opportunity for people to put their vision and implement it. And finally, it is very important, in my opinion, to transform the implementation. Implementation is not going down. There is a lot of initiatives at the top level, but that does not go into a practical implementation. Let me, at the end of this session, say that we have very good experiences from the region. We know how this could be addressed. We know that this to happen, we need political leadership. It can make or break, in my opinion, having a vision, implementation, accountability, and where is Ziba? Ziba's not here. She's proposed to have the population board of the commission. If this has to be implemented, it has to be given a mandate and resources. Otherwise, it will be another committee that needs a lot of coordination. Let me thank our panelists at the end of this session and wish you the best luck. Thank you very much. Thank you, sir.
Thank you to our panelists for this incredible discussion. We will now be moving forward.